All right, guys. So in today's video, for every one of you who enjoys being on the ketogenic diet. So I'm a keto guy. I've been on and off for 5 years, but about 5 years ago was the first time I did it. And I fell in love with it. It was amazing to me. Compared to a regular diet, whenever your body's just using ketones, you have so much more energy. You don't need to eat as much. You have mental clarity. I just felt healthier in general. That wasn't the reason I got on. I got on because I wanted to trim down. That was the primary reason. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's just a great diet. That said, it's very difficult to maintain, okay? Or it can be. I mean, to me, at the beginning, it wasn't because, I mean, all I was eating was steak and jalapeno poppers. And, you can eat all the protein and meat you want. And, uh, you know, you're going to lose weight and gain muscle, right? If you lift weights. And so to me, I'm like, look, I'll eat steak all day, right? I'll get a medium rare ribeye and I'll eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with some jalapeno poppers. Like I'm totally cool with that, guys. No problem. You know what I mean? Hey, you do miss the sweet tooth, but after a while you get used to it. Um, that said, today in 2026, you can't buy a steak anymore unless you have $10 million, because it's ridiculous. Like if you go and you want to buy a ribeye or a tomahawk steak, I mean, you're looking at like $80 for a steak. And so it's not really economical now, which is a little disappointing because I'll be honest with you, I kind of wish Trump would allow the Chinese to import their cattle again so we can get the price of beef down and we can all be eating steak and eggs for breakfast. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, that's not the reality we live in right now. So we have to find other ways, other more economic ways to stay in ketosis, to eat meat, stay in ketosis without breaking the bank and without going bankrupt and causing a financial crisis, right? um yeah, I'll be honest with you though, I miss the good old steak days, because that's steak. That's the easiest thing to cook, you know what I mean? I like my medium rare. Throw it, you can reverse, get a thick piece, reverse sear it, then or yeah, reverse sear it. So you put it in the oven, let it cook slowly, and then sear it at the end. And nice, perfect medium rare, or you can just grill it, however you want. And um, and yeah, it's fast, it's easy, and it's delicious, right? So yeah, I definitely miss those days. Just kind of thinking about that, but I will tell you this: even with kind of less expensive cuts of meat, cheap cuts of meat, or cheap protein, if you cook it right, if you use the right methods, you can make it taste delicious. Okay. A lot of people, if you cook chicken breast or you cook turkey breast or you cook pork loin, right? Um, or even pork chops or whatever. There's a very fine line between um, that tender zone and then overcooking it to where it's so dry it tastes like cardboard. Okay. And that's the biggest problem, because like if you don't know how to nail it every time, then nobody likes to eat cardboard. I don't like an overcooked chicken breast. It's just not good. I just don't like it, right? So using the sous vide method, you are able to actually cook all of these things medium rare, believe it or not, right? Because what you're effectively doing is you're pasteurizing the meat in order to kill the bacteria versus hitting it with high heat over a shorter period of time. And what sous vide means in French is under suction, right? So under vacuum. So what you do is you take the meat and you there's certain ways you can use a bag. I use a bag. Some people use an actual vacuum seal, and you, depending on what kind of sous vide implement you have, some people have a, a little device that swirls. I have something different. I'll show you what I'm using now in a little bit here. But what it does is it gets the water to a certain temperature, right? So, like for my turkey, I'm going to cook it at like 135, 138 for about 3 hours, right? But whenever that turkey breast comes out, it's going to be a little pink in the middle, fully cooked, a little pink in the middle, but it is going to be tender and it is going to taste delicious. I think there's not going to be a dry piece in it. Okay, I can promise you that. So whenever you cook a turkey breast, that's a lot of meat. Or you cook a giant pork loin, that's a lot of meat that lasts a few days. And whenever you're on the ketogenic diet, you do get very hungry, so you always have to have options. And so cooking in bulk is a good idea. And this method right here, so like let's say pork is maybe $1.60 a pound. You can get turkey around Thanksgiving for like $1 a pound sometimes, and below $2 a pound, right? And even chicken is more than that. Chicken's far more than that. So, like, if you really like, if you want to do this and you want to eat well, you can do it. You can do it with cheap meats like turkey and pork, right? And so I'm going to show you how I do it. So that you have this as a tool in your back pocket, because again, you don't want to eat shitty meat. That's the basis, right, for this entire thing. Like, we all want to eat tender, juicy meat. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and you will never fail, because literally the temperature of the meat will never get above the temperature of the water, okay? And so it doesn't have to be precise. You can leave it in there longer. It's not going to affect it very much, right? You can leave it in too long, but you have like a few hours of leeway there. So it's like, it's a pretty sit it and forget it easy process once you learn how to do it. I'm going to show you how I set it up. I'm going to show you actually how I cut the turkey breast off of the bone, how I put it in the bag, what seasonings I use. And then, a lot of times I don't even sear it at the end, but I'm going to do it this time just to show y'all, because searing definitely does bring a little more flavor. The problem I have with it is that you need to make sure that the surface of the meat is a little dry to get that Maillard reaction, the flavors from the browning. And so whenever you do sear it, you want to do it at a high temp, and you want to get that browning, but you don't want to do it too long, because you don't want to overcook it after you've been sous videing it, right? Because once you do that, if you're going to eat leftovers and you're going to recook it, that's why I always cook it to a medium rare, really, because it's just, to me, it's you can still cook it in the microwave and it's still going to be good the next day or the day after that. Okay. You can add toppings, whatever you want. But anyway, here we go. All right, guys. So sorry for the mess here, but this is what I'm using here. This is the kitchen here. This is the pan I'm going to use to sear it with. And I'll show you my freezer here. So this right here, this turkey, this is a big old boy. This one right here is almost 14 pounds, 84 cents per pound. You can't beat that, all right? And what I do with that, I'll take the turkey breast, I'll sous vide that, then I'll take the quarters and I'll actually either bake them or I'll smoke them. But yeah, I mean, like I'm telling you, you just can't beat it. Right here, so what I use for my sous vide is I use the Instapot Aura Pro. It has a sous vide option right here where you can set everything that you would like. And this right here, this is the turkey breast that I have. I'm going to show you exactly how I cut it up, how I bag it, what bags I use. And then this right here is the pot. So you fill this with water, and then in the bag you put the turkey breast and you get all the air out and you let that sit in the water. You take this, you put it in here, you cover it up, and you let it, you basically just sit it and forget it. Let it cook. And I promise you, if you are the worst chef in the entire universe, you can't screw this up, okay? Unless you just don't follow the directions, or you're, you know, one of those people who has to overcook everything because you think you're going to die from salmonella, which you're probably not. Um, you know, unless you're just like being really dumb about it, okay? But anyway, I would rather eat good food and take a little bit of that risk. I'm going to start filling this up with water right here. And then I am going to have to put this on a tripod so that I can show you how I do this. All right, so you want to fill the water up to about right there, because once you put the bags in, it's going to, the turkey with everything, it's going to fill up. But now let's get to the turkey part. All right, guys, so here, right now I'm going to deal with the turkey breast. I'm going to move my water over to this side because I'm going to have to get my hands a little dirty here. And I will tell you, I am no chef. I am no trained chef, okay? So I might be doing a bunch of crazy wrong stuff. I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure I don't, because I like it, you know. I think it's really good. And I think it'll help a lot of people out there who want to be on keto, who want to stay on it, but know how hard it is to actually do that if you can't always prepare for it. All right, so here we go to cutting out the turkey breast. So first of all, you can feel a bone right here, okay? So the breasts are on both sides of this bone. So what I do is I find that bone, and I take my knife, and I cut as close to it as I possibly can, okay? Man, I need to sharpen these knives, baby. These things are a little bit duller than I would like. I like to feel the bone because I want to get, whenever I'm cooking something, I want to get as much meat out of it as I can. So you can see that we have this first part of the breast is starting to separate now. You have to watch out because you have the ribs right here. And if you All right, now I hope all of you don't go start doing this, because then the price of turkey is going to rise, and I'm going to have to figure something else out. So just watch it and like it and share it and subscribe and tell everyone how awesome and great I am. But don't actually do it, because I love turkey. It actually is, to me, it's like, it's so good. It's healthy. It's pretty lean. And in my, I don't know. If you cook it right, to me, it's better than chicken. All right, so there's one breast. I'll show you what we're going to do with that. That was a pretty good cut. It looks like I missed a little bit of this right here, which I like to get everything. I don't like to waste any food, so I will always throw it in there as much as I can. All right, that's good. So we have one breast right here. We're about to get the other one, and then I'm going to show you how we bag them. So you see how that right there, how it splits up. That's the wishbone. I actually heard that's how Elon Musk got so lucky sending a ship to, or building a spaceship, was he just, had a wishbone, and he wished, please, wishbone of this turkey, let me build a spaceship and become the richest man in the world. And hey, look at him. It worked. So maybe there is something to this whole wishbone thing. That's a joke, by the way. I think. I don't know Elon Musk's superstitions. A really bad joke. Gotta say something though, because this part takes a little bit. This is, but I mean, look, for the effort involved, like honestly, if this is all you have to do, yeah. I mean, this part might be a little tedious, but it's not that bad. Especially since you can probably eat on this for days, turkey's good in a lot of ways though if you do it right. Like, I love smoked turkey if you smoke turkey the right way, and frying turkey. I love fried turkey. Again, if you do it the right way. Smoking turkey can actually be a little complicated though. The first time I tried, God, I screwed that up so bad. But the second time, ooh, baby, you talk about good. See, look at that. No meat on that sucker right there. I got all the meat off. Now that's what I'm talking about, baby. Look at how much meat, look at that. All right, baby. Whew. All right, so I'm gonna do something a little different this time. I'm gonna put usually I put a half a stick of butter in each of the bags. This time I'm going to put a quarter stick of butter in each of the bags to let it cook in that butter. And these are the bags that I use. If you don't have a vacuum sealer, the Glad Flex and Seal. These are amazing because it allows the bag stretch out and it makes it way easier to get the air out of it and everything like that. So these are really good if you want to sous vide. So I kind of put a few of my ingredients in there first. What I'm going to do this time, and we'll see how it turns out. The last time I used half a stick of butter on each, it was delicious, so you can do that. This time I'm going to do a fourth in each, and then I'm going to do some virgin coconut oil. Madonna might like this. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I'm going to leave one stick of butter for the whenever we sear it, to put it in the cast iron skillet. I love the way coconut oil tastes on most things, okay? I don't know how it's going to taste on this, but with my seasonings, the way I season turkey, I think it's going to taste, it's going to taste pretty good. You're going to be, people who cook turkey are going to probably look at my ingredients and be like, what the hell is this guy doing? None of that makes sense. Gross. But hey, try it. Because let me tell you something. After you try it, you're going to be like, holy crap, man, this guy was absolutely right. That was delicious. So right now I'm putting garlic. I get this minced garlic already minced. I like that because I don't have to do the work. And I just get a heaping teaspoon, throw it in there. Heaping teaspoon, throw it in there. And I get the bags ready first because after I season it, I'm going to put it directly in there. Okay? And now we are going to go through the seasonings that I actually use. So obviously, your obligatory salt and pepper. Salt and peppers and everything. I feel like onion is almost in everything. And the way that I actually choose how to season things is by smell, you know? Like, you can smell an herb and understand if it will go with what you're doing, okay? So some of these things that I use, like, I actually use nutmeg, allspice, paprika. Here, let me show you. So the salt and the pepper, got the onion powder. I use fennel, organic ground pepper, organic ground ginger, ground allspice, smoked paprika, turmeric, a little Italian seasoning, and a little ground nutmeg. And that is how I season my turkey breasts. Now, as you see, the bags are ready right here with everything we need in them to put the turkey in whenever we are done seasoning. So I always use, let's see, I open all of these first because they need to be accessible. And I kind of like have a feel for how much to use of everything. Like, you know, it really is a feel. I don't measure anything out. You know, you don't want too much of anything. You want a little bit enough. And if it's a very strong herb, then, you know, you want less. With things like onion powder, you can add maybe a little more, but, you know, I like to do all of my seasonings kind of modestly. All right, baby. So here we go. Start off with the salt, the essential for everything. Then the pepper. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Now the onion powder. Little bit of this Italian seasoning. Hope you can see how much I'm doing there. I'll throw a little bit of this cayenne pepper on. So just a little bit of that. Or a lot if you want it real spicy. The ginger. And actually, you know what's crazy? Is I use these same spices with duck too, and it turns out so good. Duck I do in the oven though, because there's so much fat on it that you don't really need to sous vide it. Smoked paprika. Boom, look at that, baby. We got the turmeric. This one might throw some people off, like, why turmeric? Seems like an odd choice, but it's delicious when in combination with all of these others. A little bit of the nutmeg. Yeah. Has like a little bit of a sweet flavor to it, and so does the allspice. That's what I love about it. It gives it like a, I don't know, it brings out the flavor in it. All right, baby. Now we are ready for packaging. So now, I take the turkey breast and I plump it in my bag. Just like that. Boom, baby. And then turkey breast number 2. Number 2. This one came off a little weird, but I don't care. I'm going to eat all of it anyway. All right. So that is that. All right, guys. So now I'm going to, you see the water here, kind of the water level. It's almost to the top, not all the way. Now I'm going to seal the bag. So we have our beautiful turkey breast. And what we do is if you don't have a vacuum seal, you place it in here and essentially you start to zip up part of the bag here, and as you submerge it, the air will come out, and continue doing that until you have all the air out all the way to the top. And that right there is your under vacuum. That's how it's going to cook evenly and perfectly all the way around. All right, so now we got number 2 here. So I do the same thing. Looks like the water's going to start overflowing already, so I got close. Maybe added a little too much, I'm not sure. But the same thing, push it down, let all of that air out, or as much as you can, and boom, under vacuum. I just saved you $200 buying a vacuum sealer. So one of the things I do here, so sometimes even if you seal it, water can get in, which honestly, if it does, it's not really that big of a deal. Usually it doesn't. Mostly it's just the juices. Very rarely do I have that happen, but sometimes what I do, just to make sure, is I will take it where it's sealed. I'll flip it over a few times, and then I will take a clip and Boom, do that. Then you got no problems. You're definitely not gonna, it's definitely not going to, no water is going to get in. The problem with that is every time you do that, these turn into rust and they're unusable. And I love these things. So I wanted to show you that technique, but I'm not gonna do it myself because I'm a pro. All right, so check this out right here. So that's like close to perfect. It's almost all the way full. I probably let a little bit of water out there because there's not as much meat as a gigantic pork tenderloin. But then, oh shit, oh. Put that too close here. Oops. Oh well, we're all human. We all make mistakes. Okay. Now. God damn it. Okay, so I put way too much water in, or a little bit too much. Maybe I'm getting a little too excited and moving it around a little too much because I have stage fright. Because the entire globe is going to see this video and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm so nervous what other people might think of me because I really care about that kind of stuff. All right, let's see if I can do a better job from here on out. All right, let's all right, so we got everything in here. We can put the lid on with all this water around. Hopefully I don't get electrocuted. There actually is water all over this, but I don't think I'd get electrocuted because there is a breaker. All right. Horrible joke, horrible joke. All right, let's take a look at this here. So I am going to set my sous vide for 138 degrees for 3 hours. So on average, most people do it 145 for 3 hours. And the traditional way is 152 for 2 hours. But like I said before, you're pasteurizing it. There's no, even though it's only 138, you're still killing all the bacteria because of the time. And it's so much more flavorful. Not only that, but also if you reheat it, it doesn't dry out if you reheat it, and it won't dry out as much whenever you use the sear it at the end. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We are going to do, let me verify, 138 for 3 hours. Let's go sous vide here. 138. 3. Boom. And now you forget about it. Okay. Let me show you here. So this right here is the element heating up the water. Okay. And this timer will not start until the water reaches the temperature you set. Okay. So that takes a little while. You'll hear a beep, then it'll start. That's when your 3 hours starts. And yeah, that's, I think I got, most of it right now. Pretty much everything. Whenever it's finished, I will show you the searing method. And then, yeah, we'll give it a shot. All right, so 2 things real quick. I realized I forgot to add the fennel, so I did add that at the end. Y'all did not see that. And another thing was I put a clip on one of them and used one of them without a clip. I did that to see, just to verify, just as a little scientific test, to see if there is water in one of them. I don't think there will be. It's all going to be juices. It'll be the same amount, but just to be sure that I'm telling you the right stuff, that's what we're going to do. So anyway, I'm going to go to Wild West and country dance with beautiful women. And then I'm going to come back. By the time I'm back, we'll be ready to roll. All right, guys. So the turkey breast should be done. I actually went somewhere and I left it for a while, even after it stopped, which means it's everything should still be good. So let's take a look here. See what we got. So we have the one right here with the clip on it, and you see all the juices inside. It's still vacuumed. And then we have the one without right here, and it too is still vacuumed. There we go. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to remove the turkey breast without the juices and let it dry and then sear it. I'm definitely going to save that juice. I'm not going to throw it away. No way in hell. Oops, there we go. That was that little piece from earlier. Alright. We are getting the cast iron skillet ready. So you see I left the juices over here. I'm going to put those in a separate container. And now we are going to sear it. Alright, here we go. You don't need to do it too long, just enough to get the browning effect. You're already getting it right there. That's good enough right there. That's all you need. Just a little bit, because you don't want to negate all the sous vide. Alright, I'm going to pour what I can into here. Alright, now we're going to cut it open and I'm going to show you how it looks. Alright, we'll just take an end right here. And a lot of people sometimes will look at this and think, no way that's not done, it's pink. But again, that's the pasteurization process. So here's a piece of meat right there. Let me go. A little deeper in here. Alright, so there's a piece. And again, I left this one a little longer than I usually do. Usually I cut it off exactly at that 3-hour mark, but I went somewhere and then anyway, so we will see how it tastes. Money. Nice and juicy, not dried out. Not as medium rare as I usually like, but you can see how much juice is still in there. Yeah, that'll work for sure. This is honestly probably how most people like it anyway. So there you have it. If you want to do keto successfully, cheaply, and always eat good, sous vide is your best friend. Thanks for watching.